It's time for Agriculture, presented by Turkana Farms in Germantown, New York, a small-scale producer of heritage breed livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres. They also produce a full array of garden vegetables, many of them heirloom varieties raised naturally, as well as an assortment of berries, including raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, black, red, and white currants, mulberries, and elderberries. And now, here's Victoria Cox.
Hi friends, it's Victoria. Last weekend we hosted the much anticipated revival of the Scherzer Spindler Passover tradition and had the pleasure of a full house, a truly outstanding Seder meal, and a score of hands to help in the garden. Our beds, which have been slumbering gently under blankets of straw and sheep manure, are finally waking up and sending out sprouts, and we harvested our first rhubarb and asparagus of the year. Aside from these trusty perennials, everything else in the garden is still in its infancy, and we spent Sunday afternoon transplanting, mulching, and weeding our delicate babies. If I'd been out there alone, I'm sure the time would have passed slowly and felt like any other chore. But with the warm breeze, slow conversation with the whole family present, and the incredible smell of the mint beds we were working in, I can hardly imagine a better way to spend an afternoon. Truly, both weeding and weeds have an undeservedly bad reputation. Let me attempt to intervene on their behalf. As soon as we expose the soil to prepare a new bed, dormant seeds that now have access to light begin to sprout. These plants are an incredibly useful first guard that appear to secure and protect soil that has been disturbed. The first and fastest in our beds, the clovers, work to fix nitrogen in the soil. They also send up a perfectly round first leaf, which is precious to behold and is a great source of abstract aesthetic pleasure, the number one purpose of Turkana Farms. After the clover comes an herbaceous blanket familiar to most gardeners: dandelions, garlic mustard, nettles, chickweed, wild onion, and their ilk. Seen from one angle, these species form an army that threatens to overtake a plot at the first sign of weakness. Conversely, I like to see them as my first crop. One of the things I look forward to in the spring, with this flush of early growth, is foraging for wild greens. Currently, I get to feel very romantic as I stroll beside the pond with a handmade basket, gathering violet leaves. But I did this just as often in vacant lots in my neighborhood in Raleigh, stuffing flowers into a plastic bag and trying to look like I wasn't trespassing. My favorites from home, nettles, lamb's quarters, and purslane, aren't having their moment quite yet. But when I ventured forth to seek ingredients for an afternoon snack, I found more than enough to meet my needs. Tender baby dandelion and violet leaves are mild, almost like spinach, and garlic mustard and wild onions are pungent and savory. Purple dead nettle has a nutty, earthy aroma, although the tiny hairs on the leaves keep me from eating too much of them without a quick sauté. The same qualities that make these species such formidable foes as weeds, early, fast, and constant growth, ensure a bountiful harvest once you grow to appreciate them as table greens. Of course, you shouldn't eat any wild plant if you aren't sure of its identification. However, I trust the judgment of our listenership implicitly, and if you've had the experience of becoming deeply acquainted with these species as foes, then you likely know them well enough to seek them out instead as food. Dina Falcone's book, Foraging and Feasting, is an excellent resource, as is the truly beautiful cookbook, Forage, Harvest, Feast, by Marie Valjean, and Yule Gibbons' classic, Stalking the Wild Asparagus, is a must-read. If you've checked all those out, and you still aren't sure, I'd love to have you over and show you firsthand.
Agriculture is underwritten by Turkana Farms, LLC, a small-scale producer of heritage-bred livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres in Germantown, New York. More information, 518-537-3815.